Day 188, Exile, 2 Kings 22, 2 Chronicles 33, Proverbs 7. Let's begin. 2 Kings 22. Josiah was 8 years old when he had begun to reign. He reigned for 31 years in Jerusalem. The name of his mother was Jedidah, the daughter of Adaiah, from Bozkath. And he did what was pleasing before the Lord, and he walked in all the ways of his father David. He did not turn aside to the right, or to the left. Then, in the 18th year of King Josiah, the king sent Shaphan, the son of Azaliah, the son of Meshullam, the scribe of the temple of the Lord, saying to him, Go to Hilkiah the high priest, so that the money may be put together which has been brought into the temple of the Lord, which the doorkeepers of the temple have collected from the people. And let it be given, by those in charge of the house of the Lord, to the workers. And let them distribute it to those who are working in the temple of the Lord in order to repair the surfaces of the temple. Specifically, to carpenters and masons, and to those who mend gaps, and so that wood may be purchased, and stones from the quarries, in order to repair the temple of the Lord. Yet truly, let no account be given by them of the money that they receive. Instead, let them have it within their power and trust. Then Hilkiah, the high priest, said to Shaphan, the scribe, I have found the book of the law in the house of the Lord. And Hilkiah gave the volume to Shaphan, and he read it. Also Shaphan, the scribe, went to the king, and reported to him what he had instructed. And he said, Your servants have brought together the money which was found in the house of the Lord. And they have given it so that it would be distributed to the workers by the overseers of the works of the temple of the Lord. Also Shaphan, the scribe, explained to the king, saying, Hilkiah, the priest, gave the book to me. And when Shaphan had read it before the king, and the king had heard the words of the book of the law of the Lord, he tore his garments. And he instructed Hilkiah, the priest, and Ahikam, the son of Shaphan, and Achbor, the son of Micaiah, and Shaphan, the scribe, and Asaiah, the servant of the king, saying, Go and consult the Lord concerning me, and the people, and all of Judah, about the words of this volume which has been found. For the great wrath of the Lord has been kindled against us because our fathers did not listen to the words of this book, so that they would do all that has been written for us. Therefore, Hilkiah, the priest, and Ahikam, and Achbor, and Shaphan, and Asaiah, went to Huldah, the prophetess, the wife of Shallum, the son of Tikvah, the son of Harhas, the keeper of the vestments, who was living in Jerusalem, in the second part. And they spoke with her. And she responded to them, Thus says the Lord, the God of Israel, Tell the man who sent you to me. Thus says the Lord, Behold, I will lead evils over this place, and over its inhabitants, all the words of the law that the king of Judah has read. For they have abandoned me, and they have sacrificed to foreign gods, provoking me by all the works of their hands. And so my indignation will be kindled against this place, and it will not be extinguished. But to the king of Judah, who sent you so that you would consult the Lord, so shall you say, Thus says the Lord, the God of Israel, in so far as you have heard the words of the volume. And your heart was terrified, and you humbled yourself before the Lord, listening to the words against this place and its inhabitants specifically, that they would become an astonishment and a curse, and because you have torn your garments, and have wept before me, I also have heard you, says the Lord. For this reason, I will gather you to your fathers, and you will be gathered to your sepulchre in peace, so that your eyes may not see all the evils that I will bring over this place. 2 Chronicles 33. Manasseh was 12 years old when he had begun to reign, and he reigned for 55 years in Jerusalem. But he did evil before the Lord, in accord with all the abominations of the nations which the Lord overturned before the sons of Israel. And turning away, he repaired the high places, which had been demolished by his father, Hezekiah. And he constructed altars to the Baals, and made sacred groves. And he adored the entire army of heaven, and he served them. Also, he built altars in the house of the Lord, about which the Lord had said, My name shall be in Jerusalem forever. But he built these for the entire army of heaven, in the 2 courts of the house of the Lord. And he caused his sons to pass through fire in the valley of the son of Hinnom. He observed dreams, followed divinations, served the occult arts, had with him magicians and enchanters, and worked many evils before the Lord, so that he provoked him. Also, he set up a graven image and molten statue in the house of God, about which God said to David, and to his son Solomon, "In this house, and in Jerusalem, which I have chosen from all the tribes of Israel, I will place my name forever. And I will not cause the foot of Israel to be moved from the land which I delivered to their fathers. Yet this is so, only if they will take care to do what I have instructed them, by the hand of Moses, with the entire law and the ceremonies and the judgments." And so Manasseh seduced Judah and the inhabitants of Jerusalem, so that they did evil, more so than all the nations which the Lord had overturned before the face of the sons of Israel. And the Lord spoke to him and to his people, but they were not willing to pay attention. Therefore, he led over them the leaders of the army of the king of the Assyrians. And they captured Manasseh, and they led him, bound with chains and fetters, to Babylon. And after this, being in great anguish, he prayed to the Lord his God. And he did penance greatly before the God of his fathers. And he petitioned and begged him intently. And he heeded his prayer, and led him back to Jerusalem, into his kingdom. And Manasseh realized that the Lord himself was God. After these things, he built a wall outside the city of David, to the west of Gin, at the steep valley, from the entrance to the fish gate, circling around as far as Ophel. And he raised it up greatly. And he appointed leaders of the army in all the fortified cities of Judah. And he took away the foreign gods, and the idol from the house of the Lord, and also the altars which he had made on the mount of the house of the Lord and in Jerusalem. And he cast all these things outside the city. Then he repaired the altar of the Lord, and he immolated upon it victims, and peace offerings, with praise. And he instructed Judah to serve the Lord, the God of Israel. Yet still the people were immolating on the high places, to the Lord their God. But the rest of the deeds of Manasseh, and his prayer to his God, and also the words of the seers who were speaking to him in the name of the Lord, the God of Israel, are contained in the words of the kings of Israel. Also, his prayer and its heeding, and all his sins and contempt, and the sites on which he built high places and made sacred groves and statues, before he repented, have been written in the words of Hosea. Then Manasseh slept with his fathers, and they buried him in his own house. And his son, Amon, reigned in his place. Amon was 22 years old when he had begun to reign, and he reigned for 2 years in Jerusalem. And he did evil in the sight of the Lord, just as his father Manasseh had done. And he immolated to all the idols that Manasseh had fabricated, and he served them. But he did not turn his face to the Lord, as his father Manasseh had turned himself. And he sinned much more grievously. And when his servants had conspired against him, they killed him in his own house. But the rest of the multitude of the people, having slain those who had struck down Amon, appointed his son, Josiah, as king in his place. Proverbs 7. My son, guard my words and conceal my precepts within you. Son, preserve my commandments, and you shall live. And keep my law as the pupil of your eye. Bind it with your fingers, write it on the tablets of your heart. Say to wisdom, you are my sister, and call prudence your friend. So may she guard you from the woman who is an outsider, and from the stranger who sweetens her words. For I gaze from the window of my house through the lattice, and I see little ones. I consider a frenzied youth, who crosses the street at the corner, and close to the way of that house. He steps into shadows, as day becomes evening, into the darkness and gloom of the night. And behold, a woman meets him, dressed like a harlot, prepared to captivate souls, chattering and rambling. Unwilling to bear silence, unable to keep her feet at home. Now outside, now in the streets, now lying in ambush near the corners. And overtaking the youth, she kisses him, and with a provocative face she flatters him, saying, I vowed sacrifices for well-being. Today I have repaid my vows. Because of this, I have gone out to meet you, desiring to see you, and I have found you. I have woven my bed with cords. I have strewn it with embroidered tapestries from Egypt. I have sprinkled my bed with myrrh, aloe, and cinnamon. Come, let us be inebriated in abundance, and let us delight in the embraces of desire, until the day begins to dawn. For my husband is not in his house. He has gone away on a very long journey. He took with him a bag of money. He will return to his house on the day of the full moon. She enmeshed him with many words, and she drew him forward with the flattery of her lips. Immediately he follows her, like an ox being led to the sacrifice, and like a lamb acting lasciviously, and not knowing that he is being drawn foolishly into chains, until the arrow pierces his liver. It is just as if a bird were to hurry into the snare, and he does not know that his actions endanger his own soul. Therefore, my son, hear me now, and attend to the words of my mouth. Do not let your mind be pulled into her ways, and do not be deceived by her paths. For she has tossed aside many wounded, and some of those who were very strong have been slain by her. Her household is the way to hell, reaching even to the inner places of death.